Hey everybody, thank you for purchasing the $3 steak. Now, I have a brand new show, and as with every new show, I like to talk about it on the internet and tell you guys why my recommendations are A1. So, the show that I'm going to be talking about is Kim's Convenience, and the episode in question is Season 2, Episode 1. The first thing I want to talk about, I want to get the B plot out of the way. So, Jan and Gerald are looking for a place to move out since their friend bailed on them. This leaves Gerald homeless, which my only nitpick about this is even though they didn't have to explain why Gerald is homeless, I am at least a little bit curious as to what happened that led him to be homeless. Like, why can't he move back in with his parents, or does he not have siblings that live nearby? But regardless, he ends up living with Janet and her parents for some time, where Appa finds out that Gerald and Janet want to move out and live together. This leads to a fight between Appa and Jan, and Appa ends up agreeing to Jan and Gerald moving out because he trusts Janet. I decided to speed this along because, one, it's a very short plot, and two, it doesn't really lead to anything significant. However, there was a pretty cool moment at the end of the episode, which I'll get into later. But one of the things that I also really liked about this plot was it led to a moment that admittedly is something I would do, where when Appa was giving gifts, he gave Janet a picture of her parents to remember them by, and then he turns to oh my goodness, my apologies, this show is too hilarious. He gives Gerald a picture of himself. That's the best take I'm gonna have for you. He gives Gerald a picture of himself, which is exactly something I would do, and it makes me laugh. Moving along to the second plot of the episode, Jung is practicing confessing his feelings for Shannon, who is now dating someone else. At every turn, Jung has tried to confess his feelings to Shannon, but for whatever reason, Jung keeps getting interrupted. Now, my thoughts on this is I can't feel bad for Jung, as he has had several chances to get with her. In the first season, she practically threw herself at him, but Jung was too prideful to make a move. Yes, their second hangout where Jung had to leave to go see Appa was kind of the nail in the coffin for him at this point in the season. And that does suck because that was circumstantial. But let's not pretend like Jung did not pass up several opportunities, and let's not pretend like he didn't at least know that Shannon was into him. In fact, early on in season 1, it was well established that Jung and Kim Chi were well aware that Shannon was into him. So while I haven't finished the season, and I'm sure that this is a will they won't they situation where Jung and Shannon inevitably end up together, it's at this point that I really don't feel bad for Jung because I haven't been given a reason to feel bad for Jung. He flaked on her once by crying wolf. He later admitted to having feelings for an old high school interest who he later went on a date with. Then he bailed on Shannon twice. Again, circumstantial, but leaving that second time was enough for Shannon to get over Jung. And from her perspective, it is justified. This is where that saying, pride comes before the fall. And in Jung's case, pride did get in the way of him pursuing anything with Shannon, and by the time he was ready, it was too late for him. Now, I'm still barely 2 seasons in, and I'm sure, like I said, they will inevitably end up together. But I truly do feel like Jung kind of did this to himself. And also, just as another note, if you're going to confess your feelings to her while she's in a relationship, how likely do you think you will be successful in that? And even if you do manage to win her over, you're breaking up what could be a potentially great relationship for her already. So overall, I'm not necessarily against Jung, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily rooting for him either. Hopefully, their storyline will get much better. But the other reason why I really liked this episode and in fact wanted to talk about it was in fact that there was a meeting between Jung and Appa where they interacted with each other and they at least seemed civil, even if it was a very brief interaction. So thank you for purchasing the $3 steak. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Did you feel bad for Jung? Are you invested in his relationship with Shannon? Sound off in the comment section below. Thank you.